Hello, everyone, and welcome to Jump Around Weekly. Today is November 2nd. We're fired up to be here today. Um, Last week, we had an unbelievable episode, a ton of views. We appreciate everybody that sent your questions in. This week, we expect the same because we got another big personality. No pun intended, but we've got our big guy on the show, Mr. Trent Hillger. Welcome to the show, Trent. How's everything been going?
Everything's good. How's it going with you guys? Thanks for having me on here.
Yeah, everything is great, man. We miss seeing you every single day, but I know that today was a lift for you guys, and tomorrow we'll be on the mat. We get a chance to see you, so excited for that. But let's hop right into this thing, man. When we told some people you're going to be on the show, we got a bunch of people with a lot of questions about your hair. So I know that we're going to touch on that later in the show, but I want to throw out a little fact out there just to let everybody know that true or false. You've only had one person in your life cut your hair.
That's true. That's true. My dad's been the only one that's ever cut my hair. He was a licensed cosmetologist back in his day. He used to own a barber shop with a tanning salon in the back. So he's the only one that's ever touched my hair. He's the only one I trust with my hair.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. So sticking with kind of a little fun part of this stuff, a couple of years ago, we had some big matches that came down to the final match. I think we had 5 or 6 of them that came down to you. First part of the question was you got the nickname Thor. And I know that around these parts, a lot of kids love that stuff. They look up to. How do you feel, first of all, with the nickname? And how do you feel with all these little kids that are really starting to look up to you as their role model right now?
I mean, obviously, it's a huge thing. I remember being a little kid and these high schoolers or these college guys, all these nicknames are like there's these big superstars. So I've been there. I've been in their shoes where you're looking up to those type of people, and having that nickname is just easy to attach onto. And I mean, it helps with bringing people in the stands. It helps with making my matches a little more exciting, especially when they're coming down the last match. I'm not Trent Hillger, I'm Thor to a lot of these guys. So I'm like this like superhero type of personality. And at first, I was a little hesitant on it. I mean, there's a lot of weight in my shoulders. I didn't wrestle a varsity match yet until like I already had my nickname. I didn't wrestle a varsity match yet, so it was one of those things that like I had to like back up the nickname and back up the just what like my hype has been throughout my redshirt season. And it's a fun time. It's a good time seeing all these guys that come around. These little kids like, oh hey Thor, how's it going? Type of thing. I'm kind of curious if they even know what my real name is, but it's a good time. I'm glad that people are finding something to attach onto, and like I said, it brings people in the stands. People are coming just because they want to see Thor wrestle. They just want to like see like just all these different personalities on this team. So it's fun. It's a good time.
Awesome. And the last thing for me really is more of a serious question is talk to us a little bit. We always talk about, when we're at dual meets or whatever, we always say, hey, where's everybody want to start? How's everybody's body feeling? Here are the matchups. What do we, and you look at me, I say, are you all right going last? And you look at me, go, I want to go last. I want it to be on my shoulders. Talk a little bit about your mindset, when the match is kind of coming down to you and maybe 2-3 matches out, you're doing the math going, it could come down to me or whatever. What are you thinking about, a couple of matches before and then into that final match when sometimes the team needs you to win?
Every match I expect to come down to me. Obviously, I trust my teammates. I trust them to win all of them. I hope it doesn't come down to me because that means our team did really well. But going into the match, I expected like I'm gonna have to pin this dude. I'm gonna have to get bonus on this guy, no matter what. We've had some great wrestlers on our team since I've been part of the program. We have like Evan, we have Gross, and I trust all those guys, but I don't trust anyone more than myself when it comes down to those moments. So I've always had that mentality. Like there's like I am looking for that big moment, and that's when I wrestle my best are in those big moments. And I don't thrive for anything more than being able to go out there and win it for the team, win it for the state, win it for a program. And so that's why I look forward to it, no matter who I'm wrestling. It could be wrestling some guy who hasn't won a match, or could be wrestling the number one guy in the country. I'm looking forward to having that last match. Hopefully it's 1 or 2 point match, and I have the opportunity to come up with a big win or come up with extra bonus point, like over the Illinois match, anything like that. Looking for any opportunity. Yeah, like that pressure doesn't really weigh on me. It motivates me to get out there and get moving. Because I know some matches I can like lay back and not get on my offense right away if I know we're secured or where there's no way to win it. And I'd rather have that little kick in the butt at the beginning of the match, like, hey, like it's your time to shine, like let's go.
Well, good. Trent, I want to go back a little bit back to your high school days and talk about your recruiting process. There's not too many guys that were super successful in multiple sports that had the opportunity to get recruited by Big Ten programs in a lot of different sports. Talk about getting recruited in both Big Ten, wrestling and football, and what was your decision to go with wrestling?
I mean, it was hard. A lot of people have to decide between two different schools, three different schools. I had to decide between two or three different schools and two different sports. And so it was a tough decision. Obviously, I've been doing both of them my whole life. I've been doing wrestling for, at the time, 12 years, been doing football for about 10 years. So I had to eventually just rip the Band-Aid off on one of them, and actually made my decision enter homecoming week of football season. So it was kind of like, all right, well, I only got a few more games left. I was starting to count down the games. So that was the hardest part of the whole process, because it's like at the beginning of my senior year, I had no clue if I was going to play football or wrestle further. I already narrowed it down. I narrowed it down to Wisconsin about right before the season started, and I just didn't know if I was going to play football or wrestle at Wisconsin yet. So I was taking a few visits to other places, but I was kind of dead set on Wisconsin. And finally, about week 7 or week 8 of football, I decided that I was like, you know what, wrestling's a sport for me. I love football. I'm gonna love it forever. We could maybe see if we could try doing it later in the future. At the time, I was thinking this, but I was like, wrestling's a sport for me, and I'm just gonna go with it. I just had to commit to one of them, because it was going to be one of those things I could still be deciding right now if what I would rather do. So it was tough to decide between not only multiple schools but multiple different sports at these schools.
Right, right. One last thing here, Trent, is we had to talk about this. I went back in the record books in Michigan, and you had a 3-second pin, right?
Yeah.
That's insane. Can you talk about that, and how did that even happen?
So it was just a typical Saturday Duel tournament that we were at, and a lot of time, me and my high school coach, we would talk about like what would be our game plan for the match, because there wasn't much competition for me at the high school level. Michigan split into 4 divisions, and I was in D3, so that's the third smallest division. Wasn't a whole lot of competition, and so we'd see if we're like, I'm going to get 3 or 4 takedowns this match, and I'll get 2 turns and I'll pin the guy. Or if I'm just going to get off the mat as soon as possible because I knew I had a tougher match later in the day or something like that. And before the match, we were discussing. I was like, oh, okay, like 2 or 3 takedowns. We'll see. And I did a blast double off the whistle. He just laid on his back flat. And I was like, I just literally put my hand on him to cut him, and they called the pin right away. So it was one of those things that it was super unexpected. It was really very unplanned. And, I mean, obviously, it was awesome to set a record like that, but like it was not anywhere in either of our radars to get a 3-second pin.
Awesome. Yeah, so I had a question too. So I would argue that heavyweight is one of the tougher weights to kind of make that transition from high school to the college level. Right? You see that a lot more at the lighter weights, but you were able to kind of jump in, your first year as a freshman, get on the podium, and you've been killing it ever since. What do you think was the biggest thing from you, going from that high school level to the college level? And was it your goal to be an All-American right as a freshman, or what was your mindset at?
Well, starting with my goals, it's been a goal to be 4-time All-American, 4-time national champ since the start. So I had that expectations written there. Like Baruch was saying last week, I have my goals written down on in my room every single day. I touch them right before I go to bed every single day. And it was a hard transition, because back in high school, I was used to being the strongest, the most athletic, the quickest, the most skilled at no matter who I wrestled. And now I'm wrestling guys who are as fast, as strong, as quick, who are twice the size of me but know how to wrestle. And it was a huge transition, because heavyweight's so difficult because there's so many different styles. Like you can wrestle like a Conan Jennings type of guy or Sam Stoll type of guy who's 6'4", 6'5", cutting down to 285. You could wrestle a Mason Paris who's 6 foot, 240 pounds, as fast as a 125 pounder. So just the game planning, and you could wrestle those guys in an hour time span in a tournament. So getting used to like having a game plan with all those guys and like be able to combat all of those different types of styles, I think is the toughest part. And obviously you want to stick with your style, but having to deal with that size difference, because I'm a middleweight as far as like in the heavyweight terms. I'm like 250-ish. So having to deal with a Kassar who's 220, and then having to deal with a Conan Jennings who's 315 cutting out of 285 is definitely the biggest adjustment I had to make. Because even at my redshirt year, I didn't wrestle any really big guys. We had my practice partners at the time were like 230. All the guys that wrestled at the these tournaments were 240, 250. So I didn't wrestle any of these massive men. And that was probably the biggest adjustment for me.
Awesome. And then one last question I had. So we hit on it a little bit, right? Duels come down to you a lot. And a lot of times you come out on the winning side of that. What's one duel that sticks out to you more than any other? What was your favorite match to kind of you sealed the deal and got the job done?
I think it's all of our favorites, but it's the Utah Valley one. It's just hard to not look at that, especially with just the circumstances of what happened at the beginning of the match. It was kind of one of those things like Bono and I discussed before the match. Like he was good upper body, and at the time I was whatever, like 7-0, 8-0, and I was like, whatever. Yeah, he's good upper body. I'm good at upper body too. So I was kind of being a little cocky going into the match, be like, he won't be able to throw me. And then a minute in the match, I'm staring at the lights, like, oh crap, like got to get off my back here, and just had to slowly work back into it. And that really showed off, like the new coach's like this mindset and like style of coaching, like with the whole conditioning thing, and that like really showed it off because everyone was like still like coaches were new at the time. It was like our second or third home duel, so like it really showed off that like, hey, like we're like in really good shape and we're going to be wrestling the whole 7-8 minutes or however long it needs to be. And that kind of like accelerated the whole Thor nickname too. And it was just a fun match against a good opponent.
And you know what too, that was that capped off a weekend that was a crazy weekend for us, right? We drive down to wrestle Nebraska that Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, we were talking about, you know, possibility of flying home and all that stuff because we had 2 duels on Sunday, and I was very you know, I was very bullheaded, and I was like, no, we're taking our vans, our bus home. Well, what happened was the Big Ten picked up the duel, backed up the start to like 8:00 p.m. Then we had a great duel down there. Didn't get out of there until like 11:30 at night, and then we had a snowstorm coming back. I remember pulling into Camp Randall. It was like 1 or 2 p.m. On Saturday. Remember that? And I was like, Hey, John, we were supposed to have practice at 3 today. We were supposed to have a roll around. What do? We have a duel on Sunday. And I remember I'm like, hey, we got to let these guys rest. And we let them rest, and then we wrestled Princeton the next day real early, like 11 a.m. on Sunday. And it came down to Trent to win that one. It came down to heavyweight to win that one. And then we wrestled Utah Valley, and that happened. So it was a weekend that, you know, guys were exhausted and Trent was exhausted, 3 tough matches. And it was our second weekend on the job, really, per se, you know, with the team. And it was where it all started.
Yeah.
But okay, Jess, let's get to some questions.
Yeah, we've got some great ones. Our fans are really doing a great job of sending in questions via social. So we'll get started. And certainly if fans are watching this, we appreciate all the questions, and we'd love to get some more. As a heavyweight, Trent, are there any modified training workouts during practice that you do differently than the smaller weight classes during conditioning, or how do you train specifically for heavyweight?
There's no difference. Even I view myself as just a big 125, and that's how I want to wrestle, and that's how we should wrestle, and that's how all the best heavyweights in the country are wrestling. And so why should I train any different than the 125? You know, if I should be able to do all the sprints as them. I should be able to do all the different the monkey rolls, the bear crawls, the climbing up the stadiums. There was a video going around of me doing the monkey rolls with Bono and Devin. So I've always had to be just a part of the group, and it's just more enjoyable to like feel like you're a part of the team instead of me off doing my own little bike workout while the whole team's doing something else. So I'd rather be with the team doing whatever they're doing, because I just feel more involved, and I kind of feel bad because I know some of the workouts, like it sucks to go through. I wouldn't want to see them do that, coming back dying, and I'm chilling on the bike. And so I don't know. I'd rather have it that way, and that's how it is. Just I do what everyone else does.
We have a lot of fans of your hair. So we've got a couple questions there, as Coach alluded to earlier, but someone just asked, what's your hair care routine? You can share that with us if you want to, but certainly we also had a funny one I believe is from your dad. It said, how cool is it to share your father's genes when it comes to your hair?
All right, well, I'll answer my dad's question first. So I don't know if anyone that's watching this has seen my dad. He's balding real bad, but if anyone would see, I got to try finding a high school picture of him. His hair was longer and thicker than mine back in high school. He used to have it down to his shoulders. His hair was just super thick, long blonde hair. I couldn't believe it. I thought he was lying to me when he showed me the picture. So I'm hoping I keep my hair longer than he does. But we'll see. But as far as my hair routine, I use Suave products. So I don't know if anyone else has really long hair. That's about it. I condition twice a week, 3 times a week. So that's about it.
What are you most looking forward to this year?
Just another opportunity, especially with these times we're in right now. Opportunities are few and far in between. So just another opportunity to be All-American national champ. Last year I got the NCAAs taken away from me. So it'd be awesome to have another opportunity at getting that 4th NCAA championship tournament. And just another opportunity. It's just another time with the team, coaches, getting better. It's an extra year, especially this year being an open year and not count towards my eligibility. It's another chance to get better and improve.
One of our fans is wondering, what's the biggest change you've experienced since wrestling on the highest level collegiately? And Trent, why don't we have you answer that, and then we'll have the coaches chime in and what changes they've seen also for you as you've adapted to the college environment.
The biggest change is, as far as my wrestling style, I said I've gotten a lot better hand fighter. In high school, I was a horrible hand fighter, really didn't need a hand fight, and I felt that through my redshirt year, and even in some of my matches my redshirt freshman year, I would get dominated in some of the hand fights, and I've had to adapt to the hand fight a lot, and I feel like that's been the biggest change, and just the toughness that Big Ten wrestling is and college wrestling is. Not very often you're doing 7-minute matches, multiple 7-minute matches, 8-minute matches in a day, and just having to get that conditioning and that mental toughness to push through it. And as far as the skill level, just say the hand fighting has had to pick up a lot. So
I can definitely chime in. He's improved in a bunch of different areas, from when we first got him a couple of years ago. I agree 100% with the hand fighting. I also believe his mentality and confidence level is at an all-time high right now from when it was when he was, just getting ready to really wrestle his first match with that W on his chest. And then, skill-wise and really mentality-wise, that first year, I thought he was trying to win a bunch of matches by just, being able to ride somebody. Now, over the last year and a half, it's really been he's turned into a complete wrestler. He can go get a takedown when he needs to get a takedown. He can defend. He can wrestle upper body, like he said, except for one match. And then, of course, he's very, very good on the mat. So that's he's become a really complete wrestler over the last year and a half for sure, 2 years.
We've got some fun questions just about how you prepare to wrestle on a given day. So what do you typically eat? A fan wants to know what you typically eat in a week or the day of a game. Like how do you fuel yourself for competition?
I guess with the week, night before I always have pasta. Always carbo load the night before, but just a lot of protein throughout the week. And that's just been my diet pretty much my whole life, just a lot of protein. But the day of specifically, I'll usually have some eggs, toast, whatever, spark in the morning. And then depending on what time the duel is, like if it's a Sunday morning duel, I'll just have that. And then I'll have my PB&J after our weigh-ins that our nutritionist gives us. But for a night duel, like say Friday night duel, I'll have probably chicken or steak for my lunch my lunch meal, and I'll take a nap right after that. I'll come in for our warm up, and that'll be it. Then I'll have my peanut butter and jelly sandwich at night, and with another spark. So I don't eat a whole lot. Like I said, I kind of think of myself as a little guy, that I don't eat a whole lot of food for my size, and that's kind of surprises some people. But so it's just usually quite a bit of protein. I'll carbo load the day before.
Yeah, and fans want to know what your walkout song would be, whether it's your favorite song or if you've got a new idea for this year. What are you thinking about?
This year, I really haven't been thinking about it a whole lot. But obviously the Thor theme song last year seemed to be a hit. And then Big and Chunky, my freshman year. I just feel like that is just a good laughable song to walk out to, and it just makes sense with heavyweight. So I would say that for the fans, the Thor theme song, obviously the little kids and just everyone enjoying it, kind of like it wraps around everything that's going on with myself and the program. But my personal favorite is the Big and Chunky. It just kind of loosened me up every time going out there hearing that song. So it was a fun song to walk out to.
And is the Thor song, is that the Led Zeppelin Viking song? Is that from the movie? And sure, okay.
Yeah.
For fans that maybe didn't know that. Coaches, any more questions for Thor or other things we should share with our fans?
No, he's Trent's awesome to be around. He's really asserted himself as our leader, and I'm fired up. He's on our team, and I'm looking forward to being him a 5-time All-American possibly, and win some national titles before he gets out of here. So we're fired up, and we appreciate you being on the show, brother.
All right, thank you for having me.
All right. So with that, we'll wrap up another edition of Jump Around Weekly. And as always, start your week off right and jump around.